So to make it look more like a car, I'm going to have to add some curves, and there's a few ways to do that in Fusion. First command I'm going to use is called the fillet command. It is up here in your toolbar, and a fillet just adds a radius to a corner. So I'm going to start by doing that in the back here, because this corner is just going to be a rounded corner. So I'm going to use my fillet command. I'm going to have to click on both of these lines to say where I want it, or if your aim is really good, you can just click on the corner, and then I can select the size of my fillet. So I want this one to be relatively big. I'm going to go for 10 millimeters, enter. That's the first one done, and I'll do the same thing for this bottom one, same dimensions. So we're going to have 10 millimeter fillet. So that is the first one done. I'm not going to do this one yet because you'll use a different type of curve for that one, but I do want to put a fillet on this corner right here. So same thing, click on fillet. This one I'll make a little bit smaller. I'm going to do 8 millimeters, and then again repeat that on the bottom for a second 8 millimeter fillet. And if you want to see it, turn off dimensions and constraints. So that's it, that's looking pretty good. What I want to do next though is make sure that this line makes a nice curve that connects the front to the back. So to do that, I'm going to use a new tool, and I'm going to use my arc tool. So when you go to create, I'm going to select arc. There is a spline tool which gives you a bit more freedom, but it's usually good practice to use the arc tool. So I'm going to do the 3-point arc. That's the easiest one for me to use. So 3-point arc. I'm going to try to get my top done. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. So I want to start actually somewhere on this curve. I'm not going to wait until it's all the way at the top. So I'm going to go back here, click my first one, and for this one I'm going to make a nice long arc almost all the way to the front. And then when I move this and change the side of my arc, you want to make sure that your arc stays completely inside this line. So this wouldn't work, right? Because remember, this line here is the edge of my box. I have to go down a little bit to make sure it fits. I'm going to click to confirm, and I'm going to do a second point. Now you have to be really careful when I'm looking for it. See, all of a sudden my pointer changes to a little square. That means I've connected to the end point of my first arc, and that's what you want to do. So once you see it as box, click, and I'm going to connect it down here, and it's the same thing. So you can change the size of your arc. Just make sure it connects to the first one, and that it doesn't go beyond the size of your block. So click to confirm. I am happy with that, so I'm going to start trimming the extra pieces. So use my trim tool, get rid of this, and then these two, a little tiny bit here. And if you zoom in, there's a little bit more actually, but now that is starting to look more and more like the shape I want. One thing I'm not liking is how this is how there's like a little angle here. So to smooth it out a little bit, I'm going to use my fillet command again. So I'm going to click on fillet, click on it, and then if you zoom in, you can see if that's good. That's much more smooth. I'm going to hit enter to accept that, and that's done. Now you want to make sure it's symmetrical, so all I need to do now is use my mirror command again. So I'm going to go to create, mirror, select this curve, and again my line of symmetry, mirror line will be right here. Okay. Okay, so now to do the exact same thing on the other side, I'm going to use my mirror command again. So create, mirror, I'm going to mirror my two arcs. My mirror line will be my red line from my origin again, do it to the bottom, and that's it. I'm gonna hit OK to accept. I'm gonna think about it for a little bit, and then use my trim tool to take off these extra pieces. Now, there's one thing I'm not liking, and it's this corner here. So if I want to smooth this out, I'm going to use my fillet command again. So I'm going to go to fillet, click on that corner. It's going to suggest 2 millimeters. That looks good to me. Hit enter. Do the same thing at the bottom to get that nice and smooth. And I can check my other one as well. So I'm going to zoom in. This I'm actually happy with, but if you're not, again, fillet, and you can change that arc. So that's looking good. So far, that's all I'm going to do. At this point, I'm going to select Finish Sketch. That's going to give me the basic outline of my car. I'm going to click my home button so you can see it in 3D, and that'll be the basis for all the other stuff I need to do to make my 3D model.